Our everyday freedoms are oftentimes taken for granted. There are many who serve that make the ultimate sacrifice for their country. But what about the sacrifice of those who do not return home? Not only have they defended our great country and its freedoms, but they survived. Only sometimes does that survival come with a great cost, where many service members are no longer living life with their freedoms they had, but instead suffering in silence. Post-traumatic stress disorder and depression are the most common mental health problems soldiers coming home face.
I didn't know at the time, but Adam would frequently call me from his camp in Afghanistan. I know he must have bent over backwards trying to find ways to be able to contact me as frequently as he did. It's pretty rare for someone to have as much contact with their spouse as I had with him. At first I believed that it was due to his need to check on me and make sure I was okay. And I kind of would be aggravated, like, of course I'm fine. I'm here in America. I've been deployed on my own before. Like, you don't need to worry about me. What I realize now is he wasn't calling for my benefit, but he was calling for his own. And that need for some kind of home comfort, because his deployment was nothing like mine. It was a lot more brutal and a lot more deadly. I am oftentimes regretful that I didn't recognize that my husband had PTSD sooner. I mean, not only was I a military spouse for 5 years, but I'd been in the military for almost 4. I've seen both sides of it. Like, I should have known, is the feeling that I often get. I should have known that this was a problem. I should have known that's what it was. But instead I just made excuses for him. Like, I didn't know he had PTSD because I don't feel that the Army really did a good job explaining to us what PTSD was. He didn't have the normal characteristics. He wasn't in our backyard digging a foxhole and trying to bury himself like the media portrays it. It was more subtle than that.
Okay, PTSD it's a name that's applied to a collection of symptoms, and that those symptoms are generally the sorts of responses that someone has when they're overwhelmed by a traumatic experience. So there are few things that have higher levels of personal significance to human beings than matters of life and death, whether threats to our own or those to other people who are important to us, or experiences of loss of life of people who are important to us, or even people that we don't know but that we witness, that has a powerful effect at the time. So these sorts of experiences tend to have high levels of personal significance, and so consequently the memories that we have of these experiences tend to be among our most powerful and long-lasting memories. Now, the difficulty of that is that, again, it's all the aspects of the experience are kind of wired together, including the emotions that we experienced at the time of the experience. When there's a high level of personal significance, the traumatic experience, the emotion is still, it's wired into the memory. So whenever the memories come up, those emotions come up.
I, as a spouse, may not have known and may not have seen or connected all the things I had seen to what was going on, but they didn't listen to me when I figured it out and tried to tell them. They didn't think it was severe enough because Adam was a super soldier at work.
It really deals with substance use issues primarily. PTSD or other personal issues are maybe underlying causes for the substance use, but the primary purpose of the ASAP program is to address substance use issues for the soldiers and help them resolve those issues. Many of the soldiers were also engaged in behavioral health, which worked very well in helping them deal with the underlying causes for the substance use. ASAP is the Army Substance Abuse Program. I was one of the counselors that worked with soldiers who had substance use issues. It was very effective. The program is only as effective as the soldiers who are engaged in the program are willing to work the program and allow it to help them. But for those soldiers who did engage the program and did work with the program and really were serious about resolving their substance use issues, the program was, in my opinion, very successful. Yes, we do have, when I was there, we did have soldiers come back. And is it disappointing? No, because substance use and recovery is an ongoing process. Sometimes people are successful, right away, but a lot of times they're not. And recovery takes a long period of time. It's a lot of work, a lot of effort, a lot of change. And sometimes extra help is required, so no, it's never disappointing.
A tropical island, right? White sandy beaches, palm trees, blue sky, puffy white clouds. But if there's lava underneath, molten lava that's increasing in pressure and increasing, eventually the pressure of that lava is going to find a weakness in the crust of the earth or a thin spot or something. Anyhow, it's going to be stronger than the ability of the crust to contain it, and it's going to come out and you're going to have an eruption, a volcanic eruption. And then after a while, maybe it's days, weeks, or months, or whatever, when the pressure is released, then it subsides and the surface of the earth heals over. Pressure starts building again. That's kind of the way it is with the turbulent energy from those painful emotions from people who have PTSD, whose minds are suppressing the emotions. That energy there it's in the unconscious, and it builds and it finds release. And usually that release, or very often that release, is in the form of an outburst, an angry outburst. They're not angry about the dog that's barking too much, or the kids that didn't pick up their clothes, or the guy who changed lanes without signaling, or whatever it might be. The anger comes from the traumatic experience. Those other things are simply the context that allows that anger to come up. They're the thin spot in the crust of the earth, through which the lava comes. What they've experienced, what people who've been traumatized experience, can never be unexperienced, of course. And the memories that they have, they're going to have. But the emotional pain that goes along with that, which is what causes the symptoms of PTSD, that can be resolved, and that can be healed.
I'm so glad.
Does that help?
It does. It helps me. I don't know if it helps her. I'm sure it'll help our film too, but it really helps me.